started this company side hustle while I was working full time. I just thought I can do things a little bit differently if I had my own time and my own space. You can pay yourself now in your business, just quit your job. This is all I've known for 13 years, to have this stability.
Scary stuff.
It's so scary, but I quit and I haven't looked back since. April of 2020, I was out in people's homes doing home visits. Never afraid, because I knew there was this huge need of patients who just needed to see someone. I just really, really love that I can do this in my way. I get to really spend time with my patients. They're not rushed. The number of times people have said, oh man, nobody's ever listened to me like this. I'm just like, oh my God.
Aww, yeah.
If you just lead with that passion, knowing why you're doing something, knowing it's not just about the money, knowing it's about making an impact in patients and population, whatever practice you create, especially if you know your purpose, why you're creating it, and knowing what impact you can make, not just in one person, but in families and communities, and just changing healthcare. It's gonna take us some time, but we can do it.
Welcome to Unsung, the podcast powered by Duet, where we shine a light on the nurse practitioners who are breaking barriers, redefining healthcare, and proving that NPs aren't just the future, we're the now. I'm Dr. Ian, and each episode will uncover the untold stories of NPs across the country who are changing lives with their practices, making a real impact in their communities. Today on Unsung, we're spotlighting April Odom, founder of Physicals Plus in Illinois. Since 2017, April has been building a practice that reflects what healthcare should be: personal, community-centered, and led by nurse practitioners who refuse to play small. She's proof that independent NP practices aren't just surviving, they're thriving and changing the face of care. Dr. April Odom, so glad that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. E.
Of course. I'm going to switch to your first name in April. Did I say your last name right?
You did, yes.
Amazing. Great. Okay, so before we get into like the business and everything, first question we always ask is, what made you decide to even become a nurse practitioner?
Oh, so long story short, because it's a long story. When I was in high school, my senior year, Robert Morris had a medical assistant course after school. It was just something for us to kind of dabble in, medicine. And I had took that course, and it was like really eye-opening. I was like, okay, I can do this. I want to, get into healthcare, and nurse was what I decided. And then when I started college, right after I graduated, I went for a year, and then I got pregnant, so I became a teen mom. And then I decided to take some time off, worked in a pharmacy for 6 years. And then I was like, maybe I could go to pharmacy school.
Okay.
And so I went back to school, did all my prerequisites, and I was like, man, I have enough to apply for the nursing program. So let me apply and see what happens. And out of 240 applicants, I was one of the 40 that got accepted into the nursing program.
Man.
And I haven't looked back since. And I worked in inpatient rehab for 8 years. So, dealing with strokes and gunshot wounds and brain injuries and things. And it was physically hard, not mentally. But I was like, I definitely want to continue to take care of patients, but I can't do this forever.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
And so when I thought about going back to school next, nurse practitioner was the first thing that came up, where I can still take care of people, because I knew I didn't want to sit behind a desk or just, that be solely doing that. And so I applied to Lewis and got in the master's program first time around, and it was just meant to be.
Hold on now. I need to take a moment to recognize you as a teen mom and how you beat the odds like several million times.
Yes, and I'm a first generation college graduate of my family.
Teen mom, first generation college graduate. I mean, what? Forget the rest of the story. The story is right here. That's so impressive. You must have, I know that I'm off topic right now, but I can't not acknowledge this for a minute. You must have had quite a support system as a teen mom.
I did. So I was blessed. My son's father at the time, who's now my husband, we've been married for 21 years.
Oh, okay.
He's amazing. He's such a support. And I have a younger sister who's actually 14 years younger than me. So she was an aunt at age 6. She helped me a lot too. So she, would.
You grew up together.
School, yeah. And we took custody of her when she was 16, my husband, and she lived with us throughout the years. And so we had legal custody of her. So we really had a daughter too.
God bless.
But,
God bless.
that was a lot. And my mother-in-law, she's, so it was great to have a support system of family that I could, where I could do. My husband, again, he let me he go to school, do what you want, like it was so amazing to
Wow,
have.
that's great. Shout out to hubby then,
Yes.
because that's a big deal. Listen, the support team is everything, can make or break you. So that's really great. I just really just want to recognize you. That's amazing stuff. A lot of different decisions could have been made. So amazing,
Yes.
amazing stuff. Okay, so you
Absolutely.
became a nurse practitioner. What was your first job in what setting?
I worked in primary care with the big hospital system here, Advocate Medical Group in Frankfurt. And it was me and four physicians. And that was
Hmm.
and I actually did my last clinical rotation there. So when I graduated in December, I interviewed in January and I had a job before I even got licensed.
Okay, again, whatever. And then how long were you there?
I was there, I worked in that group for about 13, 14 months.
Oh, and then what?
Well, this is how I kind of got, I graduated in January 2017.
Okay.
And I met a physician in April of 2017 who was like, "Oh, you should do sports physicals and school physicals. You can do
Mm-hmm.
that." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm waiting for my job to start in June because my job was
Mm.
going to start in June." And she was like, "Yeah, but you can do it on the side." And that's kind of how I started my company.
Ah,
Plus, I was like, "Okay." So I started this company, this little company on the side hustle, just to, do some school and sports physicals, on the side while I was working full time. So I did a few physicals, got my job in June, and then I didn't do a whole lot with my business until the next year. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this business? And by that time I was a good, almost a year into primary care. And I was like, well, I can start doing some things on the side. And I started to diversify my business. So I was like, well, I'm going to do weight management. I'm going to do
mm,
wellness. I'm going to only accept cash for the time being because I didn't want to deal with the insurances.
yeah.
And I was working full time Monday through Friday. So I didn't have a lot of time to devote to my clinic. And then after the 14 months, I decided I wanted to spend more time in my clinic because I just thought I can do things a little bit differently if I had my own time and my own space.
Yeah.
So I remained with Advocate, but I work for retail health. So I went to retail health where I was able to work 3 days a week. And then I
Oh, I
had
see.
more time for my practice.
And you're describing something that a lot of our NPs describe, which is like they have a full time. Because listen, I don't know many people who could be like, let me just set up shop and just see what's good, right? So everyone holds on to their full time, and then they go down to part time, and then they finally, cut that umbilical cord. So it's. I like to surface that each time because people listening are like, well, how do I do it? Like, well, you don't just leave.
Right.
You go slow. Okay, so this was kind of like, so someone planted the seed in your head pretty early on, and it was a slow transition, and you started with cash. I personally like insurance better, but did you eventually transition to insurance?
Yep. So it wasn't until 2019. Uh, I was still working full time, but I was like, I had started doing house calls for this other NP I know. And he was like, you can do this on your own, right? Just go and get insurance. And I'm like, I don't know. He's
Oh,
like,
so wait, so you picked up another job
I
as a
did.
house call. Okay, I got you. I got you. And then people have to push you, huh? People are like, sis, go do this on your own. I love it.
I know. And I was like, I guess. So I did my own Medicare. I was okay, I'm going to start with Medicare. So I did my Medicare credentialing. The first time I did it, they rejected it. And I was just so,
Obviously.
like, yeah, you're just like confused. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that anymore.
Oh yeah, because you don't know that's just normal. You're gonna get
Yes.
it's like a normal cycle.
And then in January, I was like, I'm gonna do it again. So I did it again in January. And literally by the next month, February, I got approved for Medicare through my business. And I was like, okay. And then March 2020,
Mm,
COVID happened,
be
right?
quiet.
Yes.
Okay.
And so my job advocate at the time, we all went virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of the ones that was able to work at home on nights.
Mm.
And then in April, so the beginning of April 2020, I was talking to my grandmother on the phone and she was telling me, this doctor wants me to do this virtual visit and I don't have a camera. I'm so confused. This is just,
Sure.
I was like, that's where the need is. There
Yes.
are seniors at home who don't have COVID, who just need to see somebody, who are
Yes.
lonely, who are, and they're going to use the ER. And I worked in the ER as an RN, and I was like, I got to figure out a way to keep these people
And
out
they
of the
can't use
ER.
virtual. It's
Yes, they
hard.
can't.
My
Everybody
mother-in-law,
can.
my mother-in-law cannot do virtual.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. And so April of 2020, I was out in people's homes
Mm,
doing home visits because I was able to accept Medicare. And from then I was like, okay, I can do this. So then I applied for more. So I started getting credentialed with more insurance companies. But house calls became my practice because at the time that was what I was doing. I was screening people. I was safe. I
sure.
just was never afraid because I knew there was this huge need of patients who just needed to see someone.
Yeah.
And I did it, and that just became a big part of my practice. And I did that until August of 2020 when my dad got sick. He was on hospice.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I took a leave, and I was working for Advocate still. I took a leave of absence from Advocate for 6 weeks. And near the end of my 6 weeks, was right around the time my dad was transitioning, and I had asked them after 13 years, is there a way for me to come back registry because I can't come back full time right now?
Right.
And they told me there was nothing available.
Okay.
And my husband was like, well, just quit. He's like, because at that time I had a big number of house call patients. I, was able to, I could have paid myself. He said, you can pay yourself. So why don't you quit and just work on your business? And I'm like, what do you mean quit
What
my
are
job?
you talking about? Crazy man. I love this man. What's his name?
To Michael.
Shout out Michael.
Yes.
Michael's legit.
He was. And he's like, you said you can pay yourself now in your business. Just quit your job. Like, and I'm like, this is this is all I've known for 13 years to have this stability.
It's scary, scary
It's
stuff.
so scary. But I quit. I gave him my resignation. And I haven't looked back since. Best
Wow.
thing I've done. So it's been 5 years that I've been
Wow.
on my
Big
own.
loss for them. Big loss for them.
Yes. Yes.
So then did you turn house calls also into office?
So yeah, so I tell people all the time, I love taking care of people, number one, but house calls is not my passion. I just knew there was a huge need of people who needed to be seen, and I wanted to keep them out of the hospital and provide care in a way that I knew I could. But my passion has always been prevention. So I
Mm,
did have a small clinic in 2020 that has since evolved. And so I have been slowly trying to transition out of house calls and do more primary care, annual exams. I still focus a lot on physical. So I do sports school work, DOT physical exams, primary care annual exams, weight management with the focus on prevention. And I also do a little bit of aesthetics. So I try to be like a one-stop shop, comprehensive care clinic where you can come and get it all in a no waiting environment.
wow. I love this so much. So how long have you been doing that?
For 5 years.
5 years
So,
now.
yep.
And tell me if you feel the same way. Like, I personally like insurance better than cash. People feel like, oh, cash based sounds so good. But the problem with cash based is you have to convince people to take money out of their pocket. That's a lot of convincing, and it's a different skill set. And then follow up, oh, you're gonna charge me again. Oh, but it's just 2 seconds. Like, it's a lot of friction points with the patient, and you're just trying to be out here trying to take care of people, just trying to be clinical. And I
Mhm.
feel like with insurance, that conversation goes away. That conversation, there's no friction point. Yeah, I want to see you every other week until I have like whatever your blood pressure control or something. No problem, right? Because they're not like taking it out. And it's easier when you don't have to have that conversation consistently over and over again with a patient. Um, that's how I feel about it. What do you think about it?
So I feel like both have its pros and cons. We've been struggling. So we have been building up our in-clinic practice a lot. Um, so with insurance, and what we struggle with a lot of time is patients don't understand their benefits. They don't understand that they have a deductible, that
Mm,
just because you come in, your insurance doesn't cover everything, you're gonna have to pay a portion of this visit. And so my struggle has been with insurance, trying to navigate how to collect payment, how to make sure that when patients leave, that if they have a balance, that they don't just not come back or not pay us. So we've been implementing different systems. to try to like get credit card on file. And, because
Sure.
they don't really understand that, oh, I have this $3,000 deductible, so I'm going to be responsible basically for this full,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and trying to explain that to patients, not always, because they feel like my insurance should cover it. They don't.
It's not covering it. Yeah, but that still doesn't, like, on a global level, you're having that when it's cash, you're having that conversation every single time. When it's that, you just have these outliers. I don't know, but I think most people get it, and then you have that certain population, they're gonna be trouble no matter what, I feel like. Um, but that's just my take on it. And then I also feel like getting patients is easier with insurance because after a while, you're just going to show up on their card and they're going to like, I don't know you, I
Yeah.
just showed up. Whereas
Mhm.
with retail, you're always marketing. What does that feel like for
Yeah,
you?
for sure. With cash base, it's always you have to be out there, you have to do this, you have to, network, you have to do just so many different things just for people to know you. Because people have to, see you, they have to trust you to come spend money with you,
Right.
especially if it's cash.
Yeah,
So
exactly
like you said, with
right.
insurance, you're on their card. Maybe you can reach out to them, send them a flyer or whatever. They
Right.
see your name and they're like, oh, well, let me, they see your reviews
Give
oftentimes,
it a
and they're like,
try.
oh, I'm going to give you a try. But yeah, with cash, it's a lot more where they have to really feel like they know you and they trust you before they come in.
Yeah. And I see, like, because I mentor a lot of younger practices and they're almost all of them like, oh, I want to do cash base. I'm like, okay, let's see how long that lasts. Let's see you try to convince people to take money out of their pocket. It's so hard to do and it's uncomfortable also to do it
Yeah.
again and again.
Mhm.
That's not to say some people, I think it's different. Maybe in aesthetics, people know they're going to
Yeah.
pay. But
Right.
when it comes to primary care, it's different. So how many patients are you up to at this point overall, your panel? Ish.
So, ish, I'd probably say around 1,200.
God bless.
Which
That's
is, it changes because people come and they
yeah,
don't
yeah.
see all this, especially
I
my
said
home.
ish.
They transition out, and I just lost a patient I've been seeing my whole 5 years that I've been doing house calls recently.
Oh, I'm so
Um,
sorry.
and that's always so hard when you see them over these. But yeah, so take care of all these people, and like I just really, really love that I can do this in my way. Like I get to really spend time with my patients. They're not rushed. I can listen. The number of times people have said, "Oh man, nobody's ever listened to me like this." I'm just like, "Oh my God." Like,
Aw, yeah.
yeah.
No, that is hard. So, being able to practice your own way, I think, is a thing that it's the common thread among all our NPs, not just on the podcast, but I have the privilege of talking to so many NPs and through Duet, and that's the theme. They just want to take care of the patients. Like even
Mhm.
my practice was just high volume, so we don't have as much time. But the way, the touch points, the things that we focus on, making sure that, what does that mean you're not compliant? What's in your way of compliance? Like just being able to manage it differently, listening to stories. I believe you, even if I can't solve it, I believe you. It's so impactful. Like it can be done, it can be done um, d- differently, but that common theme of just want to take care of patients. I love that so much about NPs.
Yeah.
So what's a typical day like for you as a practice owner?
It varies by the day. So I kind of set aside some admin days on like Mondays and Fridays. We do house calls still.
Mhm.
And then Tuesdays, Thursdays, I'm in the office some Saturdays. Wednesdays are kind of like my admin days. But, it varies from, treating diagnosis, then I'm, doing payroll, then I'm making reels
Yeah.
for marketing.
You do it all.
So it's just all these different things, so many moving parts. But I have staff, so I have a medical assistant and a receptionist, so that helps a whole lot with, checking patients in, just so that I have more time to really be with the patient.
For sure.
And then I can do my admin stuff on those days. So I set aside that time to do my admin stuff so that it's not overwhelming.
Yeah. You need that day.
Mhm.
Is there one habit or system that you've implemented that's like been a game changer, either for your productivity or for your sanity?
Definitely finishing my notes before I leave. I
Okay.
absolutely close all. Sometimes I might miss one or two, but I try to close all of my notes before the end of the day, and I'm still out of here in a decent time. I'm not here all night. Because in the beginning, I would, do these visits and have notes open and take so long. Oh my God, it would take me hours and hours. And I was like, I have to find a way to
Right.
it's more seamless. So that has been like complete game changer because I
Yeah,
just
it's a game
have more
changer.
time with my family and at home and a fresh start every day.
Yeah. For us in our practice, we decided to use scribes because this is before AI even came out. We still use scribes. It's a game changer, like to not have to do all those click,
Yeah.
click, 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 and being able to finish it. Yeah, but getting a handle on that one way or the other, that's a good habit at the end of the day is very nice. That's usually
Yeah.
my Sunday night in front of the TV routine is when I do it.
Uh-huh.
So, how about staffing? Was it hard to find staffing? Or how's it working out?
So I've had a couple staff members. I've trialed NPs. I haven't found, except now I have an NP that's actually doing psych for me with me. Um, but before I went through a few NPs, especially for the house call, because my goal was to have other NPs doing house call while I can focus on the clinic.
Sure.
But it's hard when people don't, when it's not their business and they don't have the same passion you have.
Hmm.
And so I went through a few NPs that just were not good fits. Yeah, because I'm quick to say nope, I can't give anybody to my patients. Like,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
And so, but my receptionist has been with me 40 years
God
this
bless.
month. So that has been really good. And my medical assistant, have had two. My last one was with me like 3 years.
Okay.
And then it was weird how she quit. She quit via text message after 3 years.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
figure. And then my one that's here now, she's been with me a little bit over a year, maybe a year and a half. But I had a really great manager when I was an RN who really taught me how to be a leader.
Mm,
That's the type of leader I try to be, like open, approachable, like we're gonna conversate, we're gonna retrain when necessary. I'm gonna tell you, how can we correct things together? How can we improve this? It's like always an open dialogue. So I try to have that, just that presence of where like it's not just about me, it's about us. How do we make things better? It's not about what you did wrong, but like how can we improve upon this so we can prevent any mistakes in the future.
I love
Um,
that. Shout out to your mentor that was so impactful that you are now, doing what she taught you. That's really good.
she was
I'm
great.
sure she has no idea how much she's impacted you.
I know. She actually moved to the Philippines some years ago, but she
Uh-huh.
comes here once a year. And it's about five of us. We all get together every time she comes, no matter what day she comes.
Oh, that is awesome. Wow, that's a special human. That's a special
Yes.
human. That's amazing. Um, so has owning your practice changed your perspective on patient care, like before owning it versus now?
No, not on patient care. I've been blessed. I had my first preceptor who was actually a physician. She was a DO and she was actually my primary care physician. And I did
Mm,
my first clinical rotation with her. She would only see, a limited amount of patients a day, but she always talk to the patient. She would, so that I modeled, I was like, oh my God, this is so great. Like I had never met someone that would just like take the time to really know the patient and, establish this. And so I learned a lot of that from her, just on how to be a provider who cared, even though, as a nurse, as an RN is different. Because you're passing the buck to someone else to make the
sure.
but as a nurse practitioner now, it's up to me to make the decisions, but to keep that humanity as well. And so I've always had that in me from a very long time, just listening to patients and understanding and making sure I look at the big picture. Nurses, this is what we do. We look at the whole.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole patient.
Yes.
Absolutely. What are some common misconceptions about owning a practice that maybe you'd like to address? Any mythbusters?
That everything has to be perfect.
Ma'am.
That you're gonna start and that you're gonna open your doors to this big, huge office immediately.
Ma'am. And it's gonna be perfect and gorgeous and large.
Yes, and everything's gonna roll. No, that is not it.
Mm.
One, nothing has to be perfect. Everything doesn't have to be perfect.
Your
I feel
ducks
like
will never be in a row.
no. If you just lead with that passion, knowing why you're doing something, knowing it's not just about the money, the finances, knowing it's about making an impact in patients and populations. If that's your why and why you're doing it, that's number one. And then realizing that it's always okay to start slow.
Hmm.
Like, my first office was one room. It was literally one room in this building out in Crete, which kind of was like in the middle of nowhere, I felt like, but it worked for what I was doing at the time. And my rent was like $300.
No, this is really important. I think again, when I mentor younger, they're like, "Oh, I'm looking for space." Like, just get like a spot. My first place was like horrible. It was horrible. It had like
Yeah,
Mickey Mouse wallpaper on it from 1947. It was hard, but it worked.
it worked.
And like you grow into it. You know, we don't get our dream house when we first whatever. We rent and we can buy small. And I mean, you know, and sometimes we never get our dream house, and that's fine too.
That's fine too.
But it's the same thing. Like you don't go in from 0 to 60.
Right, right.
That's
Yeah,
really good advice.
that's important.
Oh my goodness. Is there, if you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice at any point in your practice, what would you say?
Oh, I would say to myself that it's gonna be okay.
Ma'am. I was thinking the same thing in my head. Like, what advice would be? I'd be like, it's gonna all work out.
Yes,
Yeah.
like just keep pushing along
Yeah.
because it gets hard sometimes. You know, the day you have a hard day, you have a hard moment, maybe. But that shouldn't define you. There are definitely times where I'm like, why am I doing this?
What am I
And then I'm
doing?
like,
What am
what
I
am I
doing?
doing?
What
Where
am
am I? What am I doing?
what am I
Like,
doing? What day is it?
right? But
Am I
then there are days when you're just like, this is why. You
Yeah.
know, again, seeing these patients who were like, nobody's ever done this. Or, you know, I had a young patient who hadn't seen a provider in years, she said, and came in and I worked her up anyway. And she came back and she was like, oh my God, I'm so thankful for you.
I love it.
You figured out what was wrong with me. You know, like those
Yeah.
are the days I'm like, oh, this is why. Like,
I love it. In the beginning, when I used to have hard days, my wife doesn't have to do this anymore, but in the beginning with really hard days, I'd be like, oh, let's just walk away from all this. And she'd be like, yeah, no problem. You want to go work for someone else? And I'd be like, no. And she's like, okay, then let's get on, put your shoes on, let's go. Because just the thought of going back to that overrides almost any bad thing that happens. For me,
yeah.
anyway. I was like, no, no thanks.
Yeah, I've got. Sometimes I'm like, yep, I can't give it up. I want to some days, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah, some days you like to sit, selling it, walking away. Then you
Yeah.
wake up and you do it again.
Mhm.
What are your goals for your practice in the next few years?
Oh, okay. So what I've been working on lately is I am trying to establish a corporate wellness program now
Hmm.
because you know, I know that healthcare or care shouldn't be reactive; it should be proactive. And so I know people are walking around at work because they got to go to work every day, and they're foregoing care. They're not going because they don't have time. They're walking around with undiagnosed health issues that nobody knows about because nobody's looking and they don't have time. And so I'm going to try to work with corporations to understand that if you invest in wellness, everybody benefits. So as an employer, you increase your productivity, reduce call-ins, and keep your workers better for the long time. But of course, for patients, it's going to be, hey, let's keep you long healthy for the long term as well.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I've been really working on is trying to get into corporate wellness partnerships.
Oh, I love that. Good luck on that. I love that so much. Okay, now we're just talking about you for two questions. What's a fun or surprising fact about you that most patients or colleagues don't know?
I love to plan events. Like I am
Oh,
a complete event planner. Like I must have been in another life because I like down to the very detail of like the colors and the scheme and like making sure everything matches and personalizing stuff. So that's like one of the things that I love that a lot of people don't know that I'm definitely like an event planner. Like I can do this.
well, considering the fact that you put together like your state organization events, you put it
Yes.
like you blink your eyes and you're like, ta-da, it's here. You're amazing at it. You're amazing. If you don't know now, you know, guys. And if you need an event, call April.
All right.
That's her other
And
side business. She just doesn't know it
yes.
yet.
My family actually a few years ago, we started a photo booth rental company that
Of
we do.
course. Of course you did. Of course you did. I think I know the answer to the next question was if you weren't an NP, what would you be doing?
Yes, probably planning events. And I'm a big birthday person. So I love celebrating not just my birthday, but everybody's birthday.
Oh my goodness. All right, January 6th. So
Okay, I feel like it's the one day that's yours.
yeah, I'm a big fan of that too. Like huge birth. I love birth. Doesn't have to be a big event, but we're doing something.
We're doing something that you want to do, like, because life is short.
Life is short.
Short.
I love
You
that.
gotta.
I love that so much. Is there anything else you want to tell our shared audience that maybe I forgot to ask you?
I would just say for those who are listening, again, as we said, like, and you're thinking, can you do this? It's definitely doable. It's not at all easy, for sure. So you have to make sure that you get in a community of NP entrepreneurs who are gonna support you, because there's nothing like, at the end of the day, talking to my friends, and they understand other NP
Yes.
business owners.
Yes.
We understand what we're going through, and we don't see it as, some people will say, oh, you're just complaining and you have this business, but it's not that. It's just, I need to vent to somebody. But just knowing that whatever practice you create, especially if you know your purpose, why you're creating it, it can ripple into your community and make these changes in ways you can't even imagine. And so that's kind of the thing, just knowing your purpose of why you're doing it and knowing what impact you can make, not just in one person, but in families and communities, and just changing healthcare of how it looks and, how it feels and all of that. But it's going to take us some time, but we can do it.
Oh my God. I love that so much. And I mean, I think you hit in there a few points in that. One, it's very lonely to own your own business. And, your family supports you, but they don't know.
Mhm.
And then you're like 99214, 99213, and they're like, what are you saying, right? You see, you already knew. And so if anyone feels lonely, just know we all feel that way. And we're like asking before chat, we're asking Google all these questions, trying to figure things out. That's why I love Duet. I know there's other organizations as well, but I love Duet because there's this connection. And I know, April, you're on the council for Duet as well. There's something magical about working with other NPs, and it's not a competition. We're all lifting each other up. It's a beautiful space. There are enough patients for all of us.
Absolutely enough patience for all of us.
Especially in general, but especially with a shortage. So it's fine.
Yes.
It's fine. Amazing. April, thank you so much for being here. Well, that's wrap for today's episode of Unsung. If this inspired you, share it with another MP who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It helps more MPs find us and fuels the movement. Want to join the largest MP practice network? Learn more about Duet on our website, joinduet.com. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries and proving what MPs can do.